This video will talk about a couple of different options for reducing number of pierces and or keeping small parts tabbed together. Under the Toolpath submenu, you've got the bridges option. So this is used prior to adding any sort of toolpath on the outside of your part. And then under the modify submenu, you've got the chain command, which is used after you've added a toolpath. So we'll take a look at the bridges first. So let's go ahead and nest a bunch of these pieces onto the sheet here. So for the inside cuts, we can either add our toolpath with the contour command. And if you are going to use the contour command, you're going to want to turn off the external lead type. And I'll do multi. And now we can toolpath submenu, bridges. In here, you've got different lead types you can choose from. Of course, you can edit and add as you do normally in the contour box. Which side you want your tool compensation to be on. How much of a tab or bridge that you want between the pieces. So depending on your material, you can adjust that to whatever width is suitable. If this cut single contour box is checked, if I had not put the toolpath on these inside holes, then it would put the toolpath on there. And if I choose multi, it will choose where to put the bridges on the parts. So we can see where it puts the bridges there. If you don't like where it put it automatically, I'll just do Control Z there. Go back into bridges. If I do single, then I can determine where I want those bridges to be. And first down here at the bottom, it'll prompt you specify point, and this is where you're going to have your initial lead in. So I'll just left click somewhere along this bottom edge here. And now we've got this white line here, a little rubber band thing that's connecting basically toolpath from this part on the left to the closest part that doesn't have a toolpath to it. So if I want to go over to this part on the right, I can left click where I want to put the bridge, and then I can continue working through here. So I'll left click there, and left click there, and left click there, left click, and then I'm done. So it's drawing this rubber band to this part that it sees off the sheet here that doesn't have a toolpath on there. I'll just click on done and close. So now it's going to pierce here and work its way up, down, around, and so on. We'll go ahead and we'll set our 0, point on here. And in the cut order box, you just want to make sure that the bridges happens last. So if it's not last, you can use your reorder button here and change that cut sequence. So it'll do all the inside holes first and then do that bridges toolpath. Let's take a look, see how that's going to look. And there we go. So we'd have 6 pieces chained together with the bridges command. And then the other command that we'll look at is chain cutting. So again, for this one, we're going to want to put our toolpath on the part first. You want to think a little bit as far as where you want your lead in and lead out to be. And this works best when parts are basically going in a row across a sheet, for example. So you'll see why here in a moment. So we'll go back to our contour. And we will do external. We're going to put our outside lead bottom middle. I've got a 20 thousandths tab on there. So we'll do our multi command. And we'll go to nest. I'm just going to use the single nest command. And set rotation to none. That'll keep the leads on the bottom edge of the sheet here. And we'll just do 1 row. So now that we've got that laid out, You can go into your modify submenu chain, and this is the cut quality that it'll use going from one part to the next. We'll go with rough, click OK, and then it prompts you down here, select parts. So if I left click, I can basically drag a dotted line across here and left click and enter again. And now it wants to know specify point. So this is basically going to be how it's going to go from this part to the next part. The line that we're seeing here looks like it's going to this hole here, but it'll actually go to this toolpath over here. So basically at the end of this cut, I want to come out here probably a little bit further. So I'm just going to left click there. And then if I hit enter, you'll see this toolpath that is put coming from this part over to the next part. And similar idea, I can left click here, enter, left click, enter, left click, enter, left click, enter, and so on. Just left click and enter. If you wanted to go other places, you can just left click to your heart's content and eventually hit enter. Now that you've got that, set your 0, point again. And again, make sure this chain cutting happens last. We'll set that to the end of our cut sequence. So here we can see going from part to part, it'll just keep the jet on. This comes in handy if you're doing material maybe that's prone to delamination, or again, you just want to save number of pierces. It's a nice way to do it. And one final thing you can do is if you do want to reduce number of pierces on the sheet in case there is delamination, of course I can go into my edit button here, click on this toolpath, and I could extend the length of this lead end so it starts off the edge of the sheet. If you have any questions on either of those commands, let me know. Thanks.